Time that nobody's ever let me forget this. I started out the season with last year's car, and I won the first feature. Well, it was a pretty well beat up car, you know, being all through the season. And I won the first feature, and they got a write-up in the program, which I have. And they wasn't nice to me. They said the oldest rattle, you know, junky-looking car won the first race, and stuff like that, you know. I had another car, but it wasn't done. So they was kind of, you know, don't do this to us. Bring out a nice car. You can do it, you know. And I had the other car already almost built, 57 Chevy. But it needed part of some quarter panels and one door panel. And that week, the guy I worked for, Junior France, we did a lot of windshield work and glass work. And take one of those big old cartons that a windshield come in, and I made me some quarter panels and a door skin out of that, painted it up, and let her just look nice as hell. And once Stateline got out racing, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I know I ain't going to win. I'm just going to keep away from the other cars. If somebody bumps me, it'll be all over. Got right down to the last lap. On the white flag lap, I was going down the back stretch, and somebody tried to pass and tore one of my quarter panels off. And some of it was cardboard. You could ask anybody about that was around that time. They'll remember that.
He had an old windshield box and taped on some cardboard back there and painted it so it had that fin like a 57 Chevy. He actually helped on the car some in the early years there before Link. He would kind of paint it for us. And the car you're talking about there, Bob. Yeah, that might be the. They might be on there then. I guess maybe they got pressure on him. He did have to put some pins on it, like from there back, maybe. Yeah.
All right, your best Jughead Pierce story, Bobby.
Oh my gosh. Well, the only thing I can think of would stand out in my mind is he was riding with Johnny Whitehead one day. And Johnny was showing Jug how I threw it into the corner that's coming up from Frewsburg toward Stillwater there. And Johnny cut it one way and he throwed her the other way, showed Jug how I kicked it into the corner, and Jug's door flew open and he fell out and slid up the road on the blacktop for a ways. Probably be one.
The 55 Ford one, 55 Ford, they were famous for the doors not really latching going on. Wasn't that part of the?
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Well, maybe I'm not sure what he had for a car.
The story was, I think, the 55
I remember Jug, we took him over to Doc Grant's there to get him patched up, come to the house. He had the sides gun off from him, and Doc was putting that alcohol on him to clean it out. Oh.
Jug's pretty good at the body work, though. That first car of Billy's, remember, he split it into 4 pieces.
Yeah, he did a lot there.
That was a 39 Pontiac, and he made it like a 37.
Yeah, he did that. It sectioned it all 4 ways.
Cut it in 4 pieces and put it back together.
Very clever,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah, that's when Bill and I come, and he was in there painting it, and Bob goes, don't go in there and light a cigarette. The compressor went cleep up, and Jug's in there painting with the oxygen bottle.
He was fearless.
Yeah.
All right, Melvin, your best Jug Pierce story.
Oh, probably the best one was Jug used to come up and he'd be tuned in a little bit once in a while. And we were up to the barn and we were working on I think we had the late model up there, and Bill Schnars was back in the corner working on his Sportsman or something, and Jug came in, he was walking around, and pretty quick Bill comes up to him, he says, Jug, he says, I learned how to speak Indian. Oh yeah, what's that? Lend me 5.
Not only could he stand on his head in the bar and drink a beer upside down, but one night up to Bob's garage after the races, I remember him betting somebody that he could hang by his toes over a rafter, and he was half gone, or 3/4, and he put his hand, swung up, got his toes on there, and all of a sudden he just dropped. And he dropped and never put his hands up, and he fell right on his head, from about 8 foot up. And everybody's come around, he's dead, He had to be dead, but pretty quick he just kind of rolled around, got up, and finished the evening. I mean, that was Jug. Yeah.
We did not get the story because the tape wasn't on, but what's the bus story?
Well, somebody else might be able to tell it better than me, but he worked for the city bus company, and one night we were, probably on a Friday night or something, and we were all at Ed and Jen's, and we kind of noticed something big coming in the parking lot, and Jug come in and says, anybody want to go for a ride in a bus? And I think somebody went with him, and I don't remember who it was, but they cruised over to Sugar Grove and back, and when he come back, the whole side of the bus was all scraped up where he'd run into a telephone pole and scraped the whole side, and he just took it back and locked it up in the bus garage, and he paid the price later, I think.
I think there's more to that story too. When he took the bus out of the garage up there, he didn't have the door completely up, and the bottom panel of the door, he damaged that.
Yeah,
That blew his cover there.
yeah. So they had an idea of who did it. Yeah.
Did you have an add-on, Jane?
Well, I think we were all at Ed's and Jim's when the bus arrived, and Jughead came in, and that was just typical Jughead. He did the strangest things.
Yeah.
He'd go, if he was at the racing banquet, you just shudder to figure out what might happen before the end of the night. It was X-rated by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't even think he had a driver's license, did he?
Years.
He had three driver's licenses. At one time he did have, he had one from Ohio.
Yeah, but when he took the bus, I don't think he even
Well,
had
he took them all away, he lost all.
had a driver's license.
I think you're right, Link. I don't think he had a license
I don't
at the
think he
time.
did.
Well, on that bus deal there, too, he'd left, I think he'd left to go to Sugar Grove with the bus. He wanted me to go along. I didn't want to. Then on that, but Ronnie Blackmer come in. I'll never forget that. He called me Rob, I think he said. My God, you ain't going to believe this, Rob. And I says, what's that? So I just coming over from Sugar Grove, and I meet this bus that's coming right down, a Greyhound bus that's coming right down the middle of the road. He didn't know it was Jug.
Really been nervous if he had.
Really.
Yeah.
He spent a little time in Gowanda, Jug did, and after he got out of there, he'd always say, well, I'm crazy, and now I've got the papers to prove it.
It was more fun for me to race than it was to make money. And the camaraderie after the race, there'd be 2 or 3 fires in the pits, and people having a few beers and talking with each other, and that's the way it was. And they don't get that anymore,